Well, thank you everyone for being here today. We're here with Princess Yachts America, our first Distributor Focus in our new series. Guys from PYA, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your region and as an official Princess distributor. Might I add, our biggest distributor in the world currently. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and your business. Have you always been involved in yachting and boating, and how did you end up in PYA?
Thank you, Andrea. My name is Ryan Fitchett. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Princess Yachts America. We're the official distributor for North America, covering Canada, the United States, Central America, and the Caribbean down to Venezuela. I've been with this group since I graduated from college and have worked in customer service, have worked in quality assurance, and have worked in sales. And I can tell you, one of the things that I think makes our company unique is we have a real tenured team. We've grown up in the business together, and we've constantly looked at ways to work with Princess to evolve the product to meet the needs of the American yachtsman. We sell the entire range from the V40 up through the X95. I would say the majority of our customers are, people that genuinely use their boats. They're real yachtsmen. They do long cruises, spend time on board, sleeping on board, living on board with their family. We try to build a family of owners, and that's been one of the things that's been successful for us. Is we boat with our customers, we do events with them, we see them at boat shows, at rendezvous periodically throughout the year, and it's really built a real camaraderie with them. It's kind of an extension of our own company. I will let James talk for a little bit, and he can introduce himself.
Thank you. My name is James Noble. I'm the Vice President and Marketing Director for Princess Yachts America, and we've been working really hard over the last 25 years. We've been partnered with Princess since 1995. We just celebrated our 25-year anniversary in 2020, and we've really seen the product grow. I started with the company in 1999, so very early days. At that time in our history, we really were just bringing in product that was being built for Europe and doing our best to make it work in the American market, collaborating with Princess. We are a sister company to Viking Yacht, which is a prominent U.S. builder of sport fishing yachts. And I started, like many of our people, writing the bilges, cleaning, and really learning the product from the bilge up, and working in sales, and then now doing some of the marketing for this region, working with Princess and their marketing team. And it's been a pleasure to see the product and the companies grow, because the product has evolved from something where we simply were just modifying what was existing to make it work as best as we could for our market, to something that truly is conceived from development with the North American market as one of the forerunning markets in mind for customer use and comfort and practicality. And it's been an amazing synergy of mind between Princess Yachts and Princess Yachts America over the years. I think that we've built a great team here on both sides of the pond, so to speak, and we've really, in 25 years, gotten to know each other. We've come to work the way a good marriage does. You have your battles, you have your triumphs, and I think that's what makes it work. And it's important to know that what we're doing is so unique in the industry. There's no other companies that are working the way that these two companies have worked in 25 years. And we intend to keep moving forward and growing our Princess family in our region. And it's been a great 25 years, and I think we have a lot more to come.
A good point there, James. Yeah, we do have a real partnership, and we build the boats, particularly for your market, specifically for your market. And that's not just in different wiring, which is pretty unique, or certainly you're the biggest market in the world that has 110, but also the kit on board, isn't it? I mean, you guys supply a lot of the kit because of the volume of the boats that really make it feel like, for the owners, when they step on board and they open the fridge, it's a fridge that they would experience in their home domestic market, in their house. Tell us a bit more about that, because I think it's unique to Princess, that aspect of making the boat focus for the US market.
I think that's been, to be honest, one of the biggest growing pains is because we're not building a house where we can move walls and studs at will and make bigger refrigerators fit and bigger televisions fit. The product it has its envelope, and we've had to collectively come up with ways to evolve the design over the years and meet the customer needs and demands. And you're right in saying that the customer wants to walk on board this boat, particularly in our market, because I think that's been a big part of learning about the American market, is really understanding how our customer here uses the boat and how that might be the same or in many ways different from what happens in the rest of the world. So things like greater refrigeration capacity, better spec for the air conditioning for hotter climates because of the different regions and different climates that we have, even just in our small area of the world here. Those are things that over the years have had to evolve, and much of that is rooted in really understanding what the customer's expectations of the boat are. Are they just using this to go for a day cruise, or are they truly looking to live on this boat and spend an extended amount of time with friends and family? In which case we need to make sure that we can answer both ends of that spectrum.
We're very lucky to have quite a few repeat customers of you in America, aren't we? Who've come through various ranges of boats and gone up and then suddenly come back down, maybe when they start losing crew members or crew members get their own boats. Tell us a bit about some of your customer database or customer members of the family that you have.
Well, I think it all comes down to customer service. If we provide a good product to begin with, and then we provide a good service of that product to make sure that their ownership experience is what they've signed up for. And if we deliver on that, the customers will keep coming back. We take care of the customer and they take care of us. We've got a number that have been on their 4th, 5th, 6th Princess yacht, and that's really, rewarding to see. We sell our boats through a dealer network, and I think, having a strong dealer network is also part of our success. We have 7 domestic dealers in the United States that all cover different territories and provide service. They have their own service facilities. A lot of them own their own marina, own their own service facility where they can haul a boat and do major work.
Give us an example of, somebody's watching this video now and, think that you're maybe based in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, or you're actually talking to us from Palm Beach in New Jersey. Give us a range of how big your network is there.
Yeah, so, going around the domestic market in the United States, we in New England, Oyster Harbor's Marine is based on Cape Cod, and they own their own marina. They do their own winter storage. They can haul boats, do repairs, bottom jobs, everything from, that needs to be done. In New York and New Jersey, we work with Staten Island Yacht Sales. And again, they have their own service facility in Staten Island, New York, where they can do winter storage. They can do major refits if they need to. They can do bottom paint. They can, haul a boat out of the water. Going down the coast in the Mid-Atlantic, Blue Water Yacht Sales has a couple different locations where they're in the Chesapeake, they're in Hampton, Virginia. They're also down in Beaufort, North Carolina. In Florida, we have HMY Yacht Sales as one of the biggest dealers in the market. They have sales offices in all the major marinas down the coast of Florida. On the Gulf Coast is Galati Yacht Sales, and Galati, again, they're headquartered in Anna Maria, where they have their own marina and ability to service boats, but they also have offices in Naples, Florida, offices in the Tampa area, up in the Panhandle. They're in Destin, all the way to Galveston in Texas. So if you're on the Gulf Coast of Florida or the Gulf Coast of the United States, you'd be working with Galati Yacht Sales. In the Great Lakes, Jefferson Beach Yacht Sales, they're based outside of Detroit. They have several sales locations and service locations in the Great Lakes to service their customers. One of the big places where we sell a lot of boats, believe it or not, is in Chicago through Jefferson Beach. On the West Coast, we've been working with Silver Seas Yachts now for going on about 5 years. It's a great group of guys. They They have offices in Seattle, Washington, in the San Francisco Bay, in Southern California, in San Diego, and Newport Beach. So that's just our domestic market is those 7 dealerships, and they all have large territories, and that's really by design. We want to have these guys to have a large area of marketing responsibility, but it puts a customer close to those major boating markets where they're going to be able to have service. And in addition to that, here at Princess Yachts America and our sister company, the Viking Yacht Company, we have our own service facility in New Gretna, New Jersey, outside Atlantic City, and down in Riviera Beach, Florida, just north of Palm Beach. And that's where we do our commissioning. So when the boats arrive from England, if they're going in the summertime, a lot of times they'll go into the Northeast, and we'll commission them in New Jersey. If they're coming into Florida, a lot of times we're shipping boats direct into the port of Palm Beach now, and we'll commission them at the Viking Service Center in Riviera Beach, Florida.
And then the US, but it's not just the US, is it, that you look after? Where else do you have you got dealers?
So we've also got dealers in Canada. We're in Vancouver with Freedom Marine. We're in Eastern Canada in the Toronto area with Pride Marine Group. We've got a dealer in Central America, Massport Marine, that primarily sells into Guatemala and Panama. We've got a dealer in Puerto Rico, CFR Yacht Sales. We've got a dealer in Barbados. And we also have a dealer in Venezuela, which isn't currently a big market, but used to be a very big boating market. So we've got a whole network of international dealers, that promote our product and can talk to customers. They come to the Fort Lauderdale show, they come to the Miami show, they join us when we have dealer meetings or we're over in England. So these guys, they're trained on the product, they're familiar with the product, and they have access to information to be able to sell boats, and they do. Some of the international dealers do a very nice job.
Every single one of those dealers has been to the factory, and we've shown them around here, and for our open weekends that we do with them, and they often always bring clients as well. Not so much over the past year, but in previous years, it's a regular occurrence, which is great to see.
I think talking about the network, I just want to say that we have over 55 locations spread across those primary dealers in our territory, where a client, a member of the Princess family, Princess Yachts America family, can pull in and get service from a knowledgeable team. And those dealers are selected because they're servicing dealers first, and then they get to know the product and then become excellent at sales. And that's the way you want the wagon and the horse to line up, isn't it? You want that service mentality first and then sales second. And I think what's important to note here is that if you looked at our network, you'd not only be looking at starting with a partnership. You have Princess, who's been around since 65. You have Viking, who's been around since 64. So you've got 2 boat building companies partnered together to make this happen. And then on top of that, you add a dealer network that, on average, most of those dealers have been part of this relationship since day one. And many of those dealers are themselves. I know Galati, for example, just celebrated their 50th anniversary, and there's several others that are approaching that mark and milestone. They're in that 35, 40-year history. So we have not only some great servicing dealers, but we have some real history in terms of boating knowledge and seeing this industry grow up, and the boat sizes go from when 30 and 40 feet was a big boat to now the 80s and the 90s, and all of these companies have grown right along with it. Many of them family owned and operated, and those founders still involved today. So there's such a terrific tenure and experience among that network.
I think it mirrors of how, wherever you are in the world of Princess, a lot of our dealers are in the same boat. They've been with us for 25, 30, 40 years. And it's part of the strength of the brand, which you guys are championing with what you do every day. And of course, what the likes of Galati and H&Y and Staten Island are doing with you in the US. So maybe less a serious question. Favorite locations? You've got such a diverse range of places that your clients can go boating. I know they're very far apart, so you might not get a guy boating in Florida and in Vancouver due to the distance, but I've been fortunate enough to come over and see some of the amazing territory, and I'm completely in love with Vancouver, but also the Bahamas for completely different reasons. Tell me some of yours. James, you go first.
I've lived in New Jersey, and I live in Florida now full time and have for almost 20 years. And the Bahamas and Florida is absolutely a favorite for the reason that the sheer fact that you can be on the water all year round. It's 24/7, 365 here, and you got to love that. But I have to say, near and dear to my heart, my favorite boating in my lifetime has always been the Chesapeake.
Yeah, I would say, it's hard to pick one. Vancouver is gorgeous. The couple times I've been out there, seeing the way the mountains cascade right down to the water, and you can have snow-tipped mountains and yet be in 70-degree water is amazing. Lots of wildlife, but closer to home for me is the Northeast, and one of my favorite all-time destinations has got to be Nantucket. We just had an owners event there last summer. It's fantastic scenery, beaches, things to do. New England's hard to beat. For me, summertime in Nantucket, Newport, Rhode Island, those are some of my favorite all-time boating destinations.
So understanding you guys have mentioned a little bit about customer events, and I know you, along with your extensive network, you cater to your customers in a very personal way. So talk to us a little bit about your events and your activities. I know you have events through spring, summer, and fall. So tell us a little bit about how you cater to your owners.
One of my favorite things about what we do in terms of the lifestyle that we try to encourage and foster among our owner base is through events, and that varies from boat shows where people come in and they first are in touch with the brand and the people behind the brand. And the boat show is the first place that they do that. We certainly have Fort Lauderdale is the biggest in the world, then we go into Miami, and Palm Beach is surely one of the favorites out there in this market. So those are great events that we do, and we always put on, working together between ourselves and Princess Yachts, we put on a great presence that honestly is, we do our best to deliver the brand touch and feel here in this market that you would experience whether you were in Europe or Asia or wherever. So we're trying to bring that consistency so that when people see Princess, they know what the brand's about, they feel that warmth and that welcome. So that's very much a part of what we do in terms of boat shows. But the boat shows are really just the start of it. When you become an owner, you quite quickly get ingratiated into things that we do beyond just boat shows. We do a wonderful customer event, typically every January, which is a Princess Experience. It's more of a gala type of feel where we have a private preview. It's a cocktail type of evening, and we usually will have 400 to 500 customers and prospects and owners over the course of a couple of days. And that's a great opportunity for people to get another look at the brand that's not in a major boat show. It's very personal. And we found over the years that our owners actually will find ways to get there and meet people there when they're up, especially if they're in the north. When it's cold in the wintertime, they find a way to get to Palm Beach in the middle of winter, and it becomes a gathering place. So it's more than just a boat show at that point or a private viewing event. It's more of a reunion for our owners. So I've watched that over the years grow into a great event. But I think one of the most powerful things that we do, and one of the best things that we do in terms of really introducing and uniting our owners with each other, is we do our owners' holidays. And from our level at the distributor, we do 2 a year. One is typically in the Southeast. It's either in Bahamas or Florida, depending. It moves every year. The last few years we have been in the Bahamas. And we've grown this from our first event in 2012. We had 6 boats. Last year we were scheduled to have over 40 boats in the Bahamas, and we are on track to have about 50 boats on Harbor Island come this spring. So it's just absolutely exploded. And then we'll do another event in the summertime, typically in the Northeast and New England. So as Nantucket was our destination last summer, we've been in Martha's Vineyard, we've done Newport a few times. We're headed to Provincetown this summer. So just trying to move people around to those different destinations. We really build a family of owners here. And I know that we've had Ross, you've come over, Andre, you've been at these events, and people love to meet the people behind the product. A number of years ago, we had a few of the technicians and the craftsmen, I should say, from the factory at the boat show. And people still talk about meeting the guy that was in the cabinetry department and the guy who was the metal worker. And, the more they meet the behind the scenes and the hands that actually touch and craft the boat and the passion that goes into it, and, beyond the building, all the passion that goes into supporting and delivering an ownership experience. Those events are absolutely a highlight because they have those opportunities to interact with and get to know the people that are really behind the product on both sides of the pond. So a big part of what we do is we give you the why you need it, and then the why you want it, and then why you're going to keep it. And that's kind of where our events are aimed at doing.
Definitely. And most important event coming up would be our Palm Beach Boat Show, right?
Well, this year in particular, this year without having the Miami show because of COVID and not having any boat shows aside from Fort Lauderdale in the last year, Palm Beach is something we are all extremely excited about. We're going to be in a new location. We're front and center. We're going to have a fantastic lineup, including the X95, the first public event, the first boat show globally where that boat will be debuted. So I know Ross, you and the guys at Princess have been working around the clock, making sure that boat is standing tall and finished. And we
take no credit for that at all, but the guys have been working around the clock.
please give the credit to the guys. Pass the credit along to the guys that deserve it, because we know they've been working hard, and we hope to make everybody proud with the way that boat's going to be displayed in Palm Beach. And this year, we're expanding our presence. I think we're going to have an R35. We're going to have our V65. We're going to have a V78. We're going to have an S66. We're going to have a Y85. We're going to have an X95. Correct me if I'm missing one there, James, but it's a very strong lineup, and we couldn't be more excited for the Palm Beach Boat Show.
I'm excited for it as well. I can't wait to actually see the X95.
I'll send you some more pictures.
Well, it's a great opportunity because I think that, we talked about the experience, and I think one of my favorite things about boat shows in general is that we have the opportunity to really welcome people and sort of do that first impression. And Princess has collectively always done a great job of being sort of the more approachable brand, as I like to say, because when people walk into our display, I hear it time and time again when we talk to visitors at boat shows, we talk to owners who have gone the journey and they've done the initial introduction and then eventually bought into the product. And I often like to ask, well, what did you think when you first came to Princess? And I think Princess is one of those brands that catches a lot of people off guard, I have to be honest with you, because it's out there and they're aware of it, but until they really come into the display and experience the warmth and the welcome and the sort of down-to-earth, it's a luxury brand, but it's by far and away one of the more real and approachable luxury brands out there, in my opinion, and just based on what I hear from people. So when you come into our boat show displays, it's a welcome, it's a how are you, it's not a stern face and we need all your details and your bank account number, and we're really there to build people's interest in boating. And we talk about Palm Beach Boat Show and we talk about everybody there is a boater, and that is true, but there are lots of people too that come to these events that aren't boaters or who may just be getting introduced to it. And to be honest, it is a little overwhelming. And I hear this from people from time to time that are new to boating and say, I've never really owned a boat. It sort of feels like a bit of a click. But I think once they break through that barrier, and part of our job is getting them over that barrier and saying, this is what boating's about, and the friendships and the relationships and the experiences that you can have. People have realized that when they can't travel and they can't invest in the next car or whatever it might be, the experience and what life has to offer is what becomes the forerunner. So a lot of what we deliver is experience, and we use the line collectively, experience the exceptional. And the experience is what makes boating special. And I think when you go to a boat show and you see the product on display and you meet the people, and Palm Beach is probably the best example of that, because it's always been, because it's grown from a very small regional show to a more prominent international event. It's the approachable show.
Going back a little bit, and given your extensive relationship with Princess going on 25 years, 26 years this year possibly, are there any moments in time in your history with Princess that really stand out throughout these years?
Just from a personal note, we had a customer who was a longtime Viking owner. He was a 3-time Princess owner, and he built to order the first 23 meter, which we called a 75 motor yacht at the time. And this was in 2003. We flew over, we did a customer event, and we landed in Torquay, not far from Plymouth, obviously, the English Riviera. And we brought this customer. He was a dear friend of our CEO, Tom Carroll. He had become a friend of mine, and I was involved with the ordering of the boat. And this was a great gentleman who's just a lifelong boater and really was a huge fan of Viking and a huge fan of Princess at the time. And we went over to show him a boat that he had ordered on good faith and had never seen. And we took him over, and he saw the very first hull, which was built for a European customer, running. And he got on that boat, and he was absolutely blown away. And he had come out of a Princess 65, which was his previous boat. And he had gotten stuck in the round shower. And I don't mind telling that story because that was the way things were. And he used to refer to it as a beam me up Scotty shower. And, it worked well, but to an American boater, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. And so when we got on that 23 meter and he saw the evolution in just a 3-year period, he was absolutely blown away, and all compliments to both sides of the pond for working together. And that to me was that 75, that 23 meter, we delivered every one we could possibly get out of the factory from 2004 to 2007 or 8. And that boat to this day is still a very strong boat in the resale market. And it really, to me, represented a turning point in how the relationship and the collaboration between the two companies was going to move forward. Because I think for the first time we were listening and hearing each other and really, really evolving and moving in the right direction together. So for me, that's a turning point.
For me, I think one of the special moments in my tenure with the business has been back in 2010 when the business made the decision to change from Viking Sport Cruisers to Princess Yachts America. We initially, when we started bringing Princess into this market, we put the Viking label on it, and for the first 15 years, it gave us instant brand recognition. It gave us instant, support in the market because customers were familiar with Viking. When they saw Viking Sport Cruisers, they knew that if Viking was willing to put their name on it, that means something. And then we saw the brand of Princess evolve over the time, and we were just coming out of the Great Recession. We were coming out of a very slow period, and the two companies got together, and there was, for a lot of reasons, it made sense to evolve the brand from Viking Sport Cruisers to Princess Yachts and Princess Yachts America. And I can remember being at the first show where we launched that in Fort Lauderdale. I think it was in 2010, and we had just gotten in a fresh lineup of new product. And like James said, this customer that he was talking about saw how the product had evolved over the last 3 years. Well, same thing happened then. We went through a period of time where we weren't bringing a lot of boats in. Sales were slow. We did have inventory that we were selling as we went through the hard times. And then we got, some product that had been developed but hadn't yet been seen. And we launched it with the brand Princess, and we used, the factory would, gave us some support. We were able to, leverage the worldwide global brand that had grown over the years and become really much stronger. And that just sort of springboarded us into the last 10 years have been a growth period for the whole business, for the brand, for the business. It's been great to see, and I think the brand has gotten a lot stronger. So for me, that was a point in my time that really stood out, a moment in history of that I think was important.
And what about the current crop of products we've got at the moment? There's quite a spread out there. Do you each of you have a favourite boat in the current lineup, and any reasons behind them? It's a difficult question, isn't it? It's like choosing your favourite child, but
yeah. Well, I will say this. I think the quality of the design is, leaps and bounds above some of our competition. I think the quality of the design of the boats is fantastic. It's what's really propelled us forward. We've like I said at the beginning, we sell the entire range from the V40 to the largest boat we build, the X95. But we probably do 2/3 of our business in the F class and Y class yachts, and then the other third is probably equally distributed between our V class and our S class. So from a purely sales standpoint, I love the the 68 flybridge, which then became the F70, and now I'm super excited to see the new Y72. That for me, that 68 has always been my favorite. It's just a fantastic boat. It runs great. It's got great living accommodations. It's just a great design, and that was one of the first boats I can remember when we launched. Before we even had a boat on display, I think we sold the first one coming in, but then we had it at a boat show, and by the end of that show, I think we had taken orders for 6 more. So it was just incredible, the success of that boat from day one, and we're seeing the same thing with the Y72. So for me, that's my favorite.
Go on then, James.
I think back to 2014 when we launched the first S72 in the world, and we did it in Miami. And from a marketing standpoint, we had a lot of editors from the marine press around, and they said, "What's the so what? What do I need this for? It's not quite a motor yacht. It's not quite an express boat. What's the point?" And you start to scratch your head and you think, are we just trying to create models for the sake of models? And I think to the credit of Princess and the design team, it was a lot of risk put on the line to bring a whole new class out that was sort of merging the best of the motor yacht world with the best of the express class world. And to this day, I would say that the S class has really taken a lot of us, I think, by surprise. It's a model that appeals to a wide variety of customers, those coming out of express boats who are ready for some kind of a flybridge, just from purely the perception of living space and entertaining space. And it even appeals to the motor yacht buyer who says, I want something that's a little bit more of a jump in and go feel, but I don't want to give up that flybridge. And I think the S class has really proven a point. And now adding boats like the X class, the X95, the X80, and expanding the range, Princess has just such a broad footprint in terms of, if we get a customer into display, unless they're looking for a sailboat or a trawler, there's very little reason that we can't find a way to get them into Princess. And there's such a broad appeal across the range. It is truly hard to pick one favorite. I think for me, it's middle of the range. It's in that V60, S62 size range. I think with that 3-stateroom layout, for a young family, owner-operator, that really just hits a sweet spot for us. And the owners that we've had in the S60s and S62s and the V60s over the past couple of years they're just having a blast. And they're out there, they're in the Bahamas, they're all over the place with those boats. And you would think that, for an express boat or an S-class boat, a sport bridge boat, you might be a little bit compromised on living space. But I think that size range really starts to hit that point of being able to spend some serious time on board and do extended cruising. So I think that for me is a favorite.
Yeah, I'll take one of those, or a 68 or 60 or 70 as well. Well, Ryan and James, thank you very much for joining us. This has been a great privilege to see sort of inside and behind the scenes of Princess Yachts America and the areas you cover outside of the US. Can't wait to see how Palm Beach goes. Fingers crossed I might get there, but it's looking doubtful. We wish you all the success there. We would like to welcome anybody who wants to go and have a look at this premiere of the X95, which will be its global premiere, to have a look at our website or contact Ryan or James for more information. And they want to see any of the boats at all in that range. So once again, guys, thank you and your team for everything you do, and good luck with the boat show.